Welcome back to my channel. I have been off YouTube for several months now. I think the last update I did for this project, the Women Who Rock project, was actually back in December. My life has been very busy since then. My mom got very sick. She went on hospice and passed away. My dad has been very sick as well, although he is on the mend and taking care of himself now and getting a lot better. But life has been really hectic, and as much as I love getting on here and blathering on about these projects, something had to take a back seat, and in all of that, it was panning. I've probably worn makeup a handful of times this year. So I'm ready to get back to some things that give me some joy. So this project was started by Kim over at Teacher Loves Beauty and Ruth Foley at Ruth Foley. This project is about women, not necessarily in music, but who have just rocked the world in their one way or another. I did actually finish 3 products in that, and one of them I actually started and finished in the last 5 months. So I'm going to go ahead and start with things that were on the list. Anne Frank was something that made you feel brave, and good mascara makes me feel brave. And I had the Lancome Tanti Dole mascara in here, and I did finish that on May 1st, and no, I have not kept that for 3 months. So that has gone away. I don't have that to show you. Then I pulled in Princess Diana, something tough but beautiful. For me, that was the Urban Decay All-Nighter setting spray. I also finished that. And then I also had Maya Angelou in, and the prompt for her was, she wrote the poem Still I Rise. And so the prompt for her was something that rises, plumps, or gives volume. So I had brought in a Buxom lip balm, and I finished that in the last few days. So I'm going to leave in, I have 5 that I am either pulling in or leaving in. The first one is Julia Child. That would be a food-themed product. Ooh. And I am bringing in a lipstick with a food name on it. This is the Raspberry Glacé by Clinique. I only have that much left. This is one of my favorite shades. It is a lovely frosted kind of pinky purple color, which for spring and early summer I think it's perfect for early spring and summer. My goal is to finish that. For Christa McAuliffe, I am bringing something the prompt for her was Rose to the Occasion. She was a teacher who was on the Space Shuttle Challenger when it exploded on that very cold January day. I'm old enough, I remember where I was. I had been in class. I'd been in a health class, a first aid class that was required before I went to nursing school. And I did not hear about it until I got in the car to go to lunch, and I was actually driving down Altama Avenue in Brunswick going to Burger King to get some lunch before my afternoon class started, and that's where I was when I heard the news on the explosion of the Shuttle Challenger. So I am bringing in a lipstick that actually surprised me. This was a Franken-Lip that I made. My goal is to finish it. I made it from lipstick stumps of other things, and it is a kind of pinky nude, more pink than nude, but it's just a really great color. So this was in a project last year, so my goal is to go ahead and finish that, get that out of the collection. So that is 2 lipsticks. There's always going to be a third one. There's going to be another lipstick. And what did I do with it? I got throw it back in my bag. So Madeleine Albright had a great quote about, oh, there it is. A great quote about for a long time not having a voice. And then once she found it, she never wanted to lose it again. So I am bringing something that wanted to be noticed. And I had this little tiny lipstick in my collection that wanted to be noticed. It's a Pat McGrath mini, one of the Divine Rose lipsticks. I think I got this one and another one and a lip gloss in a packet of 3 at Sephora. And there's only this much in it, so my goal is to finish it. It says Divine Rose, but it's actually more peach than rose. It's a peachy rose. Let's put that away right there. You can kind of see the difference between the 3 that I've got in the project. So my goal is to finish. So all of the lipsticks in here have a goal to finish, so they may take a while. So Rosa Parks is kind of a woman icon in the civil rights movement back in the 60s, and really until she died, she spoke about civil rights. She was a very quiet woman, and she worked, and it was a long way to her house, and she got on the bus and she was exhausted, and she wasn't getting up. She was tired, and just that simple act started, or what became a one of the rallying sentinel events, let's say that, in the American Civil Rights Movement. So the prompt for that one is a stand-up product, so something used that's, I don't know how you would how to define that. So I chose the Milani Make It Last setting spray. I want to finish this. I think it's an excellent product. It's simple, it's affordable, and to me it works better than the Charlotte Tilbury spray. Yeah. Plus it stands up on my desk. So there you go. The last woman I want to bring in is not on the list. And I want to bring something in memory of my mother. Mom, her name was Peggy Hughes. I'm an only child, so I was her obsession for years until I had children. And then, my children being her only grandchildren, she was just completely out of control with my kids. She grew up in different places in rural Georgia, around Milledgeville. She was born in Columbus, Georgia, and she spent most of her life in South Georgia. She met my dad at a friend's house, and she let him walk her to church that Sunday night. My mom was always involved, always had incredible faith, always involved in church. And that started a great romance that lasted they had just celebrated their 60th anniversary when Mom, a couple of weeks after that, Mom decided to go into hospice care. So they were married for 60 years. They truly were sweethearts. But Mom was very creative. I can remember waking up in the middle of the night and when I was in elementary school and hearing the sewing machine running. And when I got up, there would be a new dress to wear to school. She crocheted, she did embroidery, she did craft shows, if there was something to do, Mom was going to be involved in whatever creativity. I had a little bit of a meltdown in Walmart not too long ago because I was looking for a particular shade of yarn, and I walked through the sewing section to get to the yarn, and I just stopped. That big rack of drawers where you could look at the patterns and then open the patterns, and I can remember sitting in those fabric stores as a kid, Mom and I looking through those books together. And I had a little moment in Walmart about that. Mom had incredible faith. My father is a retired Baptist minister, and she was the quintessential pastor's wife. She taught Sunday school when things needed to be. They were always small churches. She typed the bulletin. She read off the bulletin, and I spent some of my Saturdays as a kid helping Mama fold the bulletins. She was very involved in the Southern Baptist Missions, women's mission programs. She served on the state board. She was just an incredible woman. But in her late 50s, early 60s, in her late 60s, her health started to decline, and so she's been sick a long time. She had been battling cancer, and the treatments for her cancer, even though her cancer was now better, her cancer had pushed her liver disease to a point where it couldn't keep up, and she actually had end-stage liver failure, which, for people who don't know, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of fluid buildup in different places, and her life was just, she was suffering. And so when she fell as well and broke 2 bones in her back, she decided that she was done. She was done. She said to me, I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid of what people might do to me before I do. And so she died about 11 days after hospice started. She died comfortably at home. It was on her terms. And Dad has actually, it gave Daddy and I time to come to terms with things, to come to peace with things. And Daddy has actually been good. We both miss her terribly. But Daddy is determined to make his life as meaningful as he can. He's actually pretty good, all things considered. He's had some health challenges since she died that probably should have been taken care of a long time ago, but he was so wrapped into making sure that she was okay that he didn't get done what he needed to get done, and it became urgent. So Mom was very protective. She was very protective of me, probably overly so. She was protective of Daddy. She was protective of of my kids. So for Mom, I'm bringing in something that is protective. So I'm bringing in a sunscreen for my mom. My mom did lots of things with, my dad has had melanoma twice, and she made sure that he went for his dermatologist visits and his follow-ups. Although when he had his surgery and reconstruction, Mom did not do wounds or vomiting or anything like that. She was queasy, so I went over and helped with that. But for Mom, I am bringing in the Paula's Choice Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense Broad Spectrum SPF 30. This is a fully mineral sunscreen. It has a slight tint to it. When you put it on, it looks very white, but it actually dries down to what is, for me, a really good shade. It's not my favorite tinted sunscreen, but it is, if stuff that doesn't give me a rash, I live with. But it is an SPF that is protective. So that's my story. Those are my 5 products. That's the story about where I have been. My mom and a story about my mom who just loved me more and her grandchildren more than any of us could actually could imagine. That was my mom. All right, guys. I am going to let you go, and I will see y'all hopefully next month. Probably going to keep this project up and the Fantasy project, and we'll see. We'll see what happens after that. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.